Hello, I want to speak about this instrument. This is a cheap one, but I think it works. Um, I want to speak about the purpose of a bass trumpet, because there is quite there are rumors about it's like a valve trombone. Let's face the question, the issue, in a logical way. First of all, it depends on your ability to distinguish subtle sound differences. Okay? So, for the common layman, yes. For an expert, not. That's the first thing to be considered. Second thing is the way the instrument is actually built. There are two variables that make the sound different from a differently wrapped valve trombone. One is the bore. It should be thin. The thinner the bore, the closest the instrument is to a real bass trumpet that is not a valve trombone differently wrapped. The first thing, they take regular straight trombone mouthpiece, so the shank is the small shank. But even for a small shank, you can have different bores. So compare the shank to the regular shank of a small bore straight trombone. And if you find it smaller, it has a different sound. Second thing is the size of the bell, the circumference. It should not be as big as a trombone, okay? And shape-wise, for an instrument has valves and pistons, not rotary valves. The instrument should be wrapped in a way that is very close to a trumpet. The only different thing is this extra tubing here. But if you consider this, should be very trumpet-like. If it has a bigger bell and is a little bit shorter here because it's wrapped a little bit, this curve is quite longer, is closer to a flugabone, which actually is not a mixer, a trombone and a flugelhorn, just the shape. Okay? Flugelbones have bigger bells. They are wrapped not so like a trumpet, like a flugelhorn, but there are bass trumpet that have a kind of similarity towards flugelbone. The problem is, do you want an instrument that looks different, or do you want an instrument that sounds different? I think the moment you invest money on something, unless you have extra money, you don't care about spending extra money, you want just an instrument differently wrapped, just go for the flugabone, which is a true blue sounding valve trombone. I think if you have to invest in an instrument, it should be a little bit different. This instrument has a different sound. It is a little bit more brassy when you play high-pitched notes. It is kind of less velvety than a trombone and more bright. That's the idea of having a bass trumpet. Should it so in my case I was in luck. This instrument, in spite of being a cheap instrument, the bore is not so thin, okay, but it looks thinner than my valve trombone. But anyway, and the bell is close, it's smaller, so it has a more focused sound than a valve trombone. Obviously, other aspect that has bear no importance when it comes to the sound is the playability, but not the comfort when you play. I usually play this instrument when I play and I have to be relaxed, I have to improvise. I play a little bit down and I lay the instrument here so I can play for a long time without the burden of carrying the old, because it's heavier than a trumpet. This instrument, having a smaller bell, is not particularly heavy. So I'd say if you like an instrument that has its peculiar sound, get a bass trumpet that has these features I told you: thin bore, small bell, okay, and that it looks like this more or less, so quite long, because if you wrap it like a flugelhorn, this is bigger, and obviously the bell is. There are downsides. I told in another video, if you're not tall, I mean 165, 66, I was 69 when I was younger, but you know, really you need to be 1 meter 90 to play, to use your hand for a plunger mute, okay? Or you have to play something like this, which is strange. They should invent something that you hook here and you have kind of a cord and you play and you pull the cord, and you know, even if you cannot reach, it's very comfortable. I think it takes less space than a valve trombone. I was in a jam 2 days ago. I brought this instrument. Nobody knew it. The place was so cramped. That it could be a problem playing a regular valve, or even worse, slide trombone. I have kind of love-hate relation with the slide trombone, and but I'd like to have a very good bass. If I had a very good bass trumpet, professional one, I'd play it almost like my main instrument. I also play this, the trumpet. The idea is I play 70% of the time a high pitch instrument and 30 or 40 depends the other instruments, because these are more difficult to play. Anyway, goodbye.